Hello and welcome to the Franchise Marketing Show. This episode was recorded at the International Franchise Show at the Excel. So although we use some really good microphones, there is some background noise going on, so there's some announcements going on because obviously it was a really busy show. But the content is absolutely fantastic. I really enjoyed recording these interviews and I hope you enjoy watching/listening to them as well. Enjoy.
Welcome to the Franchise Marketing Show. I'm Steph from Coconut Marketing. We are live at the International Franchise Show and I am joined by John from Mathnasium. John, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you very much for having me,
Thank you for joining us.
So my name's John Preston. I'm the Master Franchisee for Mathnasium in the UK. We are in the process of scaling up across the UK.
Yay!
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And in terms of like your specific journey, how did you come into franchising? How did you start Mathnasium?
The very short version of that is completely by accident.
Okay.
I was in investment banking before this, and then it was actually a health scare that ultimately led me into going into franchising. And because I was looking at actually buying businesses, and then I realized a lot of the businesses that they wouldn't scale. They were mom and pop shops, and they didn't have the processes in place or anything else. And so I started looking at franchising, and then came to an event just like this. It was the NEC one. Didn't see Mathnasium there, didn't see anything I really liked, but then I got an email on the Monday morning and said, "You may have missed us, but," and I basically started looking at Mathnasium because it was in the US at the time, not in the UK, and I was like, "Oh, this looks really interesting," and then just started as a franchisee, opened the doors in 2019, and then I acquired the master franchise rights on March 1st, 2020, just before we hit COVID.
Oh no, that's not what you need.
Yeah. They always say you can never do a business plan that's going to last beyond the minute you open, and it really didn't.
Yeah, so, I mean, that is literally a baptism of fire. How on earth did you, because you have grown the business really well, so how did you go from COVID, lockdown, to where you're at now?
I'd say first and foremost, I was a franchisee, so I understood the business inside and out. I didn't actually understand franchising, and it was a real leap of faith that the original founders in Mathnasium took on taking me on. I could see the potential of what it was. I gave them my ideas, what I wanted to do, and I was fortunate enough that they agreed to go ahead with it. But knowing the business inside and out also meant that, one, I had credibility with the franchisees, but as we were navigating COVID, I had that in-depth experience that would enable us to kind of shift as we did. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want to go through it again, but
no one wants to do that.
Yeah, we got through it. So
we've done that now.
Yeah. But that really, it also enabled us to really kind of refine things that were happening in the network. When we look at our growth now, it's, I would say 50% of which is by existing franchisees. And that's always a positive sign, right? Your existing franchisees want to get more.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a great place to be.
Yeah. So obviously, Mathnasium, I'm the complete opposite of numbers and maths. I do words. So in terms of a franchisee who joins the network, do they need to understand numbers? How can someone join?
You can't be scared of numbers, right?
Oh, I am.
Well, actually, where do you live?
Sorry?
Where do you live?
Derbyshire.
Okay. We'll have a centre there soon, so we'll help you with that. No, I'm joking. It's for kids only.
I'll be the first customer.
No, but you've got to be not scared of numbers, right? So we do attract people from financial services, accounting, but what we're really looking for, and consistently across the world, we've got 1,200 centres, we're looking for franchisees that have management, sales skills. You've got one of those two, you can build a team around you and you'll be very successful in this business. The education is conducted by our assistant managers and by the actual tutors themselves, and the tutors are actually really good at maths. I mean, they're way better than maths than I am. I did statistics at degree level, but the breadth of knowledge you need for GCSE, I've forgotten it all and more. So.
Yeah, I don't think I've used half of my GCSE maths in my life at all.
But there's Excel for everything now.
Yeah, exactly. Or Google.
Yeah.
And what would a franchisee, obviously you've got that personal experience, how does your day look?
So there's two distinct elements to your day. You probably started around about 11 o'clock in the morning, and until 3:30, you're going to be doing everything around the business. So marketing, sales, accounts, account management, all of that. And then you open the doors to your little customers at 3:30 to 7:30. And at that point on, that's when your focus is on the children and also the parents as well.
Okay.
So it's two very distinct parts of the day. But actually what we find is a lot of the franchisees like that variance.
Yeah.
It's not monotonous. It's
Yeah. Yeah, I can understand that. And in terms of the children that you're supporting, are they ones who are about to go through exams? Are they ones that struggle with numbers? Like, what kind of children are you helping?
Every single end of the spectrum. I had, when I was in the centre, I had one child who was in year 2. He was doing trigonometry for fun, which is GCSE level, right?
Wow.
And so you have that end of the spectrum, and then you have someone that's doing GCSEs that's still finger counting. So we work with children all the way up, regardless of ability. And that was one of the things that really attracted me to Mathnasium, is because it's not about rote skill and just dumb memorization. It's about true understanding of maths.
Yeah.
And so we look at it, it's like a pyramid. And if you've got gaps in the base of the pyramid, you can't build on top. So we take our time, we do a diagnostic assessment, we ensure that we fill those gaps, and once we do, we see their performance rocket. Like, we have teachers at parent-teacher interviews talking to our parents going, your child's maths has gone through the roof, are they going to Mathnasium?
Really?
Because the shift is so profound. That's what they're saying, and that's teachers.
That's really good. So you've obviously built up that brand reputation that teachers now recognise it as well.
In the areas in which we operate, obviously.
Yeah.
Which is a great sign, and as a testament, we are an educational sales business, but that very much is, you need to have the education right, and you need to operate as a business.
Yeah.
And if you do both, that's when you're very successful as franchising.
And there's a rewarding element in there as well, isn't there? Helping the children.
Yeah, there's an altruistic part. I mean, part of it for me was the altruistic side that I liked. Obviously, look, we're all here to make money.
Yeah.
We're in franchising, we've got bills to pay, etc. But also, I can do some good in the world, and that's actually a really good thing. And although I'm not hands-on day-to-day anymore, I've got teams of people, and I've got franchisees that are delivering that.
Yeah.
And that's enabling us to increase the number of children that we help across the UK. And when you look at the knowledge gaps since COVID, that are in children, and whether they're state or privately educated, they are. It's a great thing to be a positive force behind.
Yeah, definitely. So in terms of the franchisees, what kind of person would be the best suited as a Mathnasium franchisee?
So I would say management and or sales, one of the two. If you've got those abilities, you get a team around you that would be able to deliver the rest. We're not really looking for teachers, and there's a common misconception that we're looking for former teachers. Not that we don't want former teachers, but it's not necessarily your teaching skills that are required, because the Mathnasium system is all-encompassing. So that can be delivered as long as you've got the right people delivering it. But really, people that come into this look at it as a business and go, right, I'm going to manage people, I'm going to get involved, but I'm going to be managing teams of people that are going to deliver on pieces, and no one person can do everything.
No.
And so, if you've got management experience and sales experience, those are really good. And obviously an affinity to numbers is helpful. Can't be scared of numbers.
Yeah, no. And I guess that any gaps in the franchisee knowledge, you would be able to support them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So part of our onboarding process, which we changed significantly, is really vetting out. We're turning away more franchisees that we're actually onboarding.
Okay.
Because for us, we know the importance of having the right franchisee in place is critical.
Yeah.
Because when we get a good franchisee, we know that they're going to, do really well, and they'll expand and everything else.
Yeah.
So we take that time, we really vet. And so part of that is understanding, or getting understanding, like where are they going to need support? Where are they going to be strong? And obviously you never know everything, but actually identifying areas where you think you're going to be able to help them, how we're going to cater that as a support team. I mean, there's 7 of us in head office supporting 24 franchisees, but that's because of the scale of growth that we're experiencing. It's almost in anticipation of.
Yeah.
Just making sure that we've got all that in place.
Yeah, that's good. So we're here at the International Franchise Show, and Mathnasium is always a big part of the shows. What is it about, like, why do you attend the shows? Why do you find that really helpful as part of your strategy?
It's part of the mix. For me, like, we're meeting people here that have been in touch with us before. They're not just all fresh, but I also see it as an industry. I think, I did a talk yesterday, and it was actually the first time. It was completely packed. It was great.
Wow.
And then I opened up to questions at the end, and this guy said, "Why are you not talking about Mathnasium?" I said, "Because actually the advice that I'm giving you is for you to make the right decision for you. If you want to come and talk to Mathnasium, my team would love to talk to you, but that's not what this is about." And I asked right at the beginning, how many people are new to franchising, have not owned a franchise before? Every single person in the audience put their hands up.
Wow.
And what that's saying to me is that's a pipeline of people in the future. And they might not convert today. They might convert in 1, 3, 5, 10 years' time.
Yeah.
But you know what? As an industry, we need to be involved in that. And that's important.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's something that's like constantly being out there, is how can we do more to educate the public about the franchise industry, the massive benefits that are available through franchises like yourself?
Yeah. I mean, like in America, franchising represents, I think it's about 4% of GDP, which is huge.
Yeah, it is.
Now we're about 15, 20 years behind America, and I accept that. But that, to me, actually shows you the growth opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think that is the really exciting stage that we're at in the UK market in general. Like whatever franchise you're in, it's that we're at that stage. That's exciting.
Yeah. How do we get there, John?
Good question. I think there's a lot of different ways, but for me, I've actually found that working with the BFA, British Franchise Association, that's been really critical actually. I came in being a master franchisee. I didn't have an understanding of that whole franchising market. So engaging with them has been really helpful. And they are our spokesperson as an industry.
Yeah.
And so supporting them.
Yeah, definitely. Which brings me nicely to my next question, because obviously you're mentoring a lot of people, like your franchisees, and you're supporting. Who have you found as a role model that you've been able to get information, advice, and guidance from?
So, good question. I actually find that if you look around, everybody in franchising is a leader, right? And so what you've got to do is you kind of got to unearth what are they really good at. Like everyone has a skill. Yeah. So Ryan Teslon, I'm just going to put him out there. We all know Ryan,
We all know Ryan.
Yeah. Fantastic publicist. I understand his strategy with what he's doing with the podcast. I really respect what he's doing, and there's something that you can learn from there. But you could talk to anybody in the industry, and there's going to be, if you talk to them long enough, you're going to find out what that is.
Yeah.
And then you can learn from that. And that's, for me, you go in asking questions, not telling people what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what you do actually starts speaking for itself ultimately.
Yeah. So you obviously get a lot from the networking sessions.
Yeah. So the networking is really good, and just talking to people, looking at ideas, and just being open-minded.
Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things I really like about the franchise industry. It's very collaborative.
Yeah.
You get a lot of people who will share ideas. You get brands that kind of not necessarily work together, but they'll get together on a regular basis, the franchisors, and they'll share ideas and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is that something that you're involved with as well?
Yeah. So I meet up with people and we share ideas and stuff like that. And I was talking to a competitor yesterday, and we just had an open conversation. She goes, "I love that about franchising." I said, "Look, we've got a £6.5 billion industry that we're at. There's more than enough for everyone to go at.
Yeah.
You're not going to get any trade secrets off me, but that doesn't mean that we can't collaborate for the benefit of the industry."
No, exactly. And I know, like, again, from talking to Ryan in the care industry, there's times when they know someone's not right for them, but they might be right for another brand. So it's like...
So I had Phil from Bradfield Home Care. He came over and goes, John, there's someone I want you to talk to. And,
there you go.
And I was like, I love you. Great. So, I've got to go by and actually say thank you to him. He was busy earlier when I went by.
Yeah. That's the great thing about the industry. It's very connected. Like, it's like, I've said this before on the podcast, but it's very much like a family, and you kind of, you do kind of
slightly dysfunctional.
Very dysfunctional at times. But that's family. And how beneficial do you find those face-to-face conversations, both with franchisees and like potential franchisees, but also the others in the industry?
So the potential franchisees obviously really important. Realistically, I'm vetting from the first moment that I see them.
Okay.
And how they present themselves, the way that they talk, the way that they ask questions. For me, that's all part of the process. In terms of talking to the people in the industry, really valuable. Like Ed's event, the franchise social, stroke of genius by Ed. I've told him that himself, like it's really good. And it's great just to get a bunch of people in the room, and sometimes you're talking work, sometimes you're not, but it's just great to kind of meet your peers in the industry as well.
Yeah, and celebrate each other.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I think also when you're running a brand, it can be a bit lonely.
Yeah.
And so when you're talking to other people in the same situation, it's actually nice.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you do with those franchisees? Oh God, yeah. And we've all got them. But then celebrating successes as well. And it's like, well, how did you get this one to do that? And, which is great.
Yeah. And you obviously had a big success last year at the BFA Awards.
Yeah, well, we didn't win. We didn't take home any silverware, so as far as I'm concerned, we didn't get any success.
Being shortlisted is success in itself.
I know. It was great to be shortlisted. It was a great learning experience. But until they get the silverware, we're not one.
On your shelf. Yeah, everyone's craving that.
But it's great because it kind of makes you up the game as well. So you look at what you're currently doing, you go, wait a minute, we could improve this and we could improve that.
Yeah.
And it's never ending.
No.
But it's like, okay, what can we do to shift the dial the most? And that's what I got out of that, really.
Yeah.
That's important.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. John, it's been really helpful talking to you for those that are kind of listening and wondering what Mathnasium is all about. Yeah. If someone wanted to find out more about you, how can they find you?
Google.
Other sections are available.
Just go on mathnasium.co.uk or Google Mathnasium franchise. Ignore the ads where other people are trying to divert you. There's only one website for us. That's the best place to begin with. But ultimately, it's about coming on a discovery session, and actually it's 3 or 4 hours. It's a look under the bonnet of the business, and you're going to understand a lot more rather than the high level, and understand if this is right for you.
Yeah. So I'm going to throw a curveball.
Okay, go for it. Can I say no comment?
We'll see. If you were going to start a franchise again, would you choose a different sector? No. You'd always stay in kids and maths?
So, no, I think that there's opportunity everywhere. I really do. I was talking about the industry as a whole. I genuinely see so much opportunity. It's unbelievable. It's kind of asking me, do I regret what I've done? And I don't regret it at all. And I think Mathnasium is a fantastic model. It's a great franchisor. And I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about the actual franchisor.
You can talk about yourself as well if you want.
Me, not so much. No, it's a great model. It works. I wouldn't change anything. But that doesn't mean that there aren't other opportunities out there, and opportunities I'd be interested in as well.
Yeah. It's really interesting talking to you, John. Thank you so much for your time.
Appreciate it.